What's up, guys? No, we can do a lot
That
better
was
than
weak.
that.
Give
That
us
was
a little
weak.
more something than that. Come on now.
What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
Christian.
All right. So, my name's Corbin.
I'm Kenyon.
I'm actually so happy to be here. To be honest, like, in life, a lot of stuff can happen. And church is just my time, my place where I can just, relax and just, like, be with God,
That's facts.
A little bit more serious of an intro, but, like, I'm just glad to be here. Glad to see all you guys. And I'm happy to be here. I'm having a good day. All right.
Me too.
So, first thing I want to say, follow us on Instagram at RevAtGrace. We got tons of social media platforms you can follow us to see the new news and new events going on. We got Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all of it, all right? No.
Do we have a LinkedIn? LinkedIn? Do we have
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn? We're working on it.
We're working on a
apparently. Okay.
LinkedIn. All right, if you guys know what that is. All right, so we're going to play a game. It's a pretty simple game. You guys have definitely heard of this. It's called Spy the Lie, but it's going to cut to the chase. It's 2 truths and a lie. All right, or two lies and a truth.
Yeah.
2 lies and a no, Spy the Lie. It's 2 truths and a lie.
Yeah, 2 truths and a lie. All right, so there's one lie and there's 2 truths. You gotta figure out the lie.
So there's going to be 3 things, and there's going to be,
Just
3
look at the
facts,
screen.
2 facts are true, 1 is a lie. Spy the lie. All right. So we're going to pick 2 people to come up and play the game for a prize. All right? High stakes.
All right.
All right, so you pick one.
Who wants to come up? All right, you, I guess.
You wanna come up?
I would pick you, but we already have like a raise our
Who
hand.
did you pick?
Align, come on up. What's your name?
Align, come on. All right, we got Taylor. What's up? Thank
You
for
want to
playing.
introduce yourself?
Who else wants to play? Come on.
I'm Taylor.
I know some. I'm going to call on someone if y'all don't
Kim-
like volunteer.
You want to come up, Kimberly? Come on up.
All right. Here you go. All right, what's your name?
Kimberly.
All right, we got Kimberly and Taylor. All right. Two truths and a lie. I got to remember which 2 lies and a
All right, tech
two
team,
truths
you
and a
wanna put it up? All right.
lie. All right, so-
Option 1.
Yeah,
Someone paid $10,000 for invisible artwork. Option 2. The small intestine is shorter than the large intestine. And option 3. The CIA tried to develop a group of spy cats.
you could just say it when you know it.
Option 1.
She says option 1.
Option 2.
Oh, we could.
We got some
All right.
diversity here.
Someone paid $10,000 for invisible. All right, no, it's definitely option 1. There ain't no way. Like, I'm not very smart, but I know you ain't paying.
What's the answer, tech team?
Yeah. Option 2.
Ooh.
Honestly.
1 point for Taylor here.
1 point for Taylor. What are we going?
I'll keep score. 1
All
point.
right, we're going to 5 or something. Let's go to 5.
We'll go to 5. We'll go to 5.
Okay, all right.
If possible.
All right, next one. 152 people in the U.S. are named Lol. Nah, that's fake. The first pair of shoes was made from a rabbit. All right. Antennaphobia is a fear of being watched by a duck. I don't know, man.
I think option 3.
She thinks 3.
Option 1.
She's got 1. No, it's definitely 1. I agree with
I
that.
think
this
it's
time.
1 too. Like that's kind of funny. That makes me laugh out loud.
That was funny. All right. Tech team, it's 2? All right, we got no points. Nope, no points. So wait,
It's still 1-0.
so you're telling me there's 152 people in the U.S. named Lol? Where are you getting that statistic from?
There's no references here.
All right, man. I got it from Wikipedia.com.
My
I already
English
know
teacher
that.
would not like this.
All right, next one. Still 1-0, Taylor.
All right. Option 1. The Cookie Monster's real name is Billy. Peanuts used to make dynamite, or peanuts are used to make dynamite, and the tallest man ever was 8 feet 11 inches. I actually know that last one. If that's a truth or a lie, I'm not saying, but I know.
I know which one
what
is the
it
lie.
is. I know which one's a lie
I know which
too.
one's a lie, but let's see.
I think it's second one. 2.
Thinks it's 1.
She went with 2.
All right. She thinks it's 1. She thinks it's 2. Let's see.
1. That's a lie.
I was wrong. I thought the tall. Yeah. She was right. Kimberly got a point now.
All right, it's 1-1.
I thought it was the tall guy. I thought it was like 9'5".
No, I've seen him before. I met him.
Was it 8'11"? I saw
it's
the
8 up-
picture of you standing next to him, and you're like, he's 9'5".
No,
All right.
I lied.
Kimberly
He's
won,
11.
Taylor won. We're tied. This is real intense. All right. The toothpaste that sits on your toothbrush is called a nurdle. Nah, there ain't no way. You have the same number of bones in your hands as in your feet. Maybe. You are twice as likely to be killed by a vending machine than a shark. I'm pretty sure I've heard this one before. All right, what do you guys think?
I think it's 3.
She thinks it's 3. I agree with her.
2.
I think it's 3.
So we got 3 and we got
Kimberly
3 and
says
2.
3, Taylor says
Yeah.
2. All right, what is it? It's 2? But I've heard the vending machine one before.
I have 2.
All right, good job, Taylor. It's 2-1.
2-1.
2-1. All right. All right, next one, we got it.
All right. Canada is south of Detroit. What? Dolly Parton once lost a Dolly Parton lookalike contest, and octopuses have 2 hearts. Which one's a lie?
I have no idea.
I think 1. 3.
Kimberly says 1.
She
Taylor
says 3. Which one's a lie?
Which one is a lie? Number 3? So Taylor got a point. 3-1, man. You gotta step it up, man. I mean,
Step up your
I
game.
I would still have 0 points, but I mean, okay. Was that a guess? Do you have any?
Like 7 or like 4, but it was more than 2.
7 hearts? Nah, there ain't no way. I got 1 heart. Yes, there is. No, there's definitely not. All right, next one. 3-1.
Go ahead and read this one, Corbin.
A car engine can run on the 5-hour energy drink. Polar bears have black skin, and a platypus does not have a stomach.
This is a difficult one.
I have no idea, man.
Me
I'm just gonna
neither.
leave it up to you guys.
This one, number 2.
She knows. Kimberly knows.
3.
She knows. I'm going with Kimberly. Number 2.
Ooh.
Oh man,
Still 3-1.
and it's still 3-1. It's still 3-1. It's a close game, kind of. All right, let's go to the next one. Honestly, these are like really hard.
These are actually difficult. Like
I
I would
have
not get
got-
these.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I've not got a single one right in my head this entire time. So y'all are both doing better than me.
Option 1, Miss Piggy and Yoda are voiced by the same person. Option 2, the muscles in your finger are stronger than your biceps. I don't know about that one. Option 3, Princess Diana's funeral was watched by 2.5 billion people. Yeah?
No,
Which
I
one do you think?
1. 1.
They both think 1? No, I'm going with 2. I'm going with 2.
I'm going with
Personally
3.
speaking.
I'm going with 3.
Personally speaking, my biceps can lift a lot more than my fingers. I tested it out today in math class. Not lying.
All right, which one's the
All
lie?
right, what is it? I told you. I told you.
It's still 3-1. It's still 3-1.
Math class. Still 3-1?
Still 3-1.
All right. Let's keep going. How many do we even got left? We got enough? 4? All right, we
All
got
right.
4 left. This should be good. All right. The German chocolate cake was named after Sam German, who is American. Hawaiian pizza was created in Ontario, Canada, and the first set of Peeps had a horn like a unicorn. How am I supposed to know any? Do you know, Kimberly?
I think it's 3.
She thinks it's 3.
3.
They both think it's 3.
I'm going to go with 3.
I don't know, man.
All right, which one's the lie?
But-
Ooh.
Okay.
4-2.
4-2.
All right. If you get...
Did y'all know? Like, did y'all know that?
I just knew the first 2 were.
Oh, she just knew the first 2 were true?
Okay, option of elimination.
How do you know that? Where did you learn that from?
We had like trivia Fridays in middle school.
Oh, so she's cheating. All right. All right. 4-2. She's breaking the rules. You're not supposed to have knowledge. All right. Next one.
All right. Option 1. The red outfit of Santa Claus was invented in Russia in 1831. Humans cannot land on Saturn because it does not have a solid surface. And option 3 is 99.9% of commercially grown artichokes are grown in one town in California.
I'm pretty sure I know this one.
I know
What
this
do you
one
think,
most
Kimberly?
definitely.
I think it's 1.
So this is 1. What do you think, Taylor?
3.
I personally think it's 3. I think it's 3.
I have no clue.
I'm pretty sure like Saturn's a whole like gas, you know. They don't got a surface there.
Ooh.
All right, what is 1?
1.
Kimberly got it. 4-3. All right, it's
She's
comeback
catching
season.
up. She's catching
It's
up.
comeback season. What do we got? Like 2 more left? 2 more. If it's a tie at the end, rock paper scissors. All right, next one. All right, more people visit the USA every year than any other country. The term freelancers comes from a sword-wielding mercenaries, and the White House in Washington, D.C. has 35 bathrooms. I got no idea.
I think it's 2.
She thinks it's 2.
I think it's 1.
Taylor thinks it's 1. Kimberly thinks it's 2. All right, I honestly have no input on this. I mean, she thinks it's 1. All right, I think that's game.
We got a winner.
You got it. All right.
Let's give it up for
Taylor.
Taylor.
Give it up for Taylor.
All right.
All right, so after church, you just go to get Taylor. He got candy for you in his office, all right?
He's got some
Everyone
type of
likes candy.
prize. We're not sure.
It's candy.
But he's got some type of
It's
prize.
candy. No, we are sure it's candy.
Oh. It's candy, apparently.
We are sure it's candy. All right, so got a couple announcements. So next week, not this week, next week, the 90s night. All right, I'm so hyped for this. All right, you gotta dress up in your best 90s outfit. The
Is that
best
like
one?
Is that like Elvis Presley?
No, that's the 50s. That's the 50s. No, your best 90s outfit. And the best outfit gets a prize. All right? And so listen to this. There's going to be a lip sync battle. You already know I'm participating in this. I'm going to win it. So
Are we singing Elvis
feel
Presley?
free to try and be. No.
He's from the 90s,
That's
I
like
thought.
the 50s, bro. That's like the 50s, man.
I wasn't aware
No,
of
we're
this.
having a lip syncing battle for real. I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to win it. Like, for real. All right. So, one more thing. So, we need you guys to invite someone to this night. I want you to think of one friend in your mind right now that you're going to invite to 90s night. And then when you go home today, invite them. Or even right now, I don't know. We
You
need
have to
guys
invite them.
to invite one person. That's the rule. I'm making the rule, but we got to invite one. You all got to invite one person to 90s night where it's going to be crazy in here, all right? I love this time. All right. Now,
All right, our next announcement. Tech team, you want to put it up?
Next now.
There's no more now.
All right, so we do actually have one more announcement.
Yeah.
We are about to go into a time of worship, all right? And a time of worship is a great time for us to just connect with God and just like really relax in the week. Honestly, like I worship here. I worship every day, but I love worshiping here on Wednesdays and Sundays. It's just a great time for me to, decompress because life's got a lot of stresses and it's really hard to just get through the week sometimes. But worship is a great time for you to just be one with God, just really get into it, I love it. And I think we got the best worship team in Lee County. So can everyone give it up for the worship team real quick? Yeah, like for real. All right.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Worship.
You may be seated.
Oh man, I always forget how bright those lights are. It's gonna take me a while to adjust when I sit back there. What's up, guys? Y'all are so quiet. I'm like out of breath after I play that. Anybody here play music? Anybody get out of breath when you get really into it and you're really playing? Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So we're wrapping up our series on It's Personal, and Taylor and I were talking earlier this week, and we both think that what we talk about tonight, I wouldn't say it's the most important thing that we've talked about in this series, but it's definitely one that we think is hugely prevalent in your lives and you guys can definitely benefit from. But first thing I gotta tell you about is a story. And you guys know I like stories. So can you guys remember like when you met your best friend? And it could be either your current best friend or one you had before. Raise your hand if you remember where you were when you met them, like details. Okay, now raise your hand if you don't remember details, but you just know you've been friends like a long time. You're like, well, we've been friends for like ever. Okay, both are fine. I have a photographic memory with certain things. So I remember my childhood best friend, his name was Robbie Jameson, okay? So we met, I can remember, it was in first kindergarten. So I'm a 90s kid, so that would be 1993, don't laugh. So I'm gonna come back there and just shave you bald like me. So in 1993 kindergarten, Power Rangers was huge. Anybody know Power Rangers? Like I know they got new, I'm talking the original, the OG Power Rangers, like Tommy, Jason. Do you guys know the original Mighty Morphin, right? That legit, right? So that show was so popular that I went to school and I'm like, Mom, I want to wear a Power Ranger shirt. And so I went to private school. She's like, well, you have to wear your collared shirt, but I guess on Friday if you want to wear a Power Ranger, I'm like, I'm wearing a Power Ranger shirt because, you know, I'm 5 years old. So go to school. All the other kids are just wearing normal shirts. You know, I walk in, I've got I like the Green Ranger. I thought the Green Ranger was the best, so I wore Tommy's shirt. And I look, and there's a kid wearing the Red Ranger shirt. I'm like, like instant, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, we're gonna be besties. Besties wasn't a phrase back then, but I'm like, we're gonna be good friends. So I position myself to like go sit near him, and I'm like trying to turn, like see if he can, you know, notice my shirt. I'm like, hey, how are you? Like, my name's Christian, like trying to show. He's like, oh, Power Ranger. And instantly, we become best friends. We were friends from the time we were in kindergarten all the way through 8th grade. And then when we got to 8th grade, I went to North High. He went somewhere else. I forget where he went to, but we separated. We weren't around each other. I ran into him my junior year. Now, we had so many similar interests, like everything in common. We all had this, we liked the same movies. You know, we had our same interest in shows, what we like to go and do, sports we did. When I see him in high school, I'm looking, I'm like, gosh, that kid really looks familiar. He's taller, obviously, but I'm like, gosh, he looks familiar. And so I don't say anything because I'm not sure. End of the day goes, we're going out to where our cars are parked, and I see this kid get into a hearse. Do you guys know what a hearse is? It's the car that drives the bodies to the funeral. So I'm like, there's no way that's Robbie. Like, he would not drive that kind of car. That's just not, who would drive a hearse for their car? So I'm like, I'm just gonna go and see if it's him. So I walk over and go, hey, you don't have to be Robbie Jameson. He's like, oh, Christian, what's up? I'm like, oh, this is awkward. I'm like, I thought you were gonna be a person who goes, no, I'm not. Like, I'll see it, bye. And like, you know, he's like, oh yeah. He's like, what do you think about my ride? I'm like, it works. It gets you from A to B, right? I'm like, so that's the, you know, car you picked. I'm thinking maybe there's a reason. Maybe there's a really good explanation for it. He goes, no, I got it for a really good deal, $425. Okay, I'm like, that's cool. So what have you been up to? So as we talk, I realized how different, like he and I have become over just the 3 years since we've been in middle school. And sometimes, like, you can be really close with somebody, best friends even, and then like over time, they change or you change. Does everybody ever had that with a friend of yours, or maybe you've changed over time? You're different now than you were, let's say, a couple years ago. Now, sometimes that change can be really good. Sometimes you change in a good way. Like for me, sometimes, you know, you get to where you can grow facial hair and other guys can't. That's a good change. Other times you lose your hair like I do. That's a bad change. I don't personally like going bald, but I'm told bald is good, so I'm gonna take with as I can go, we'll see. It's God's got a plan for everything, right? Who said that? What did you say? Oh, they lied. Oh, thanks. That's where you're really hurting my feelings there, but I'm just kidding. So maybe you guys had a friend that had similar interests, and let me give you an example. Maybe you liked Metallica. You guys both like Metallica, that rock band, and now they like Drake. Two totally different things. And you're like, what's up with that? Or maybe there was somebody you knew that was really nice, a really good friend of yours. Now they've become kind of a jerk. Like that can happen too. They kind of get to where they're, they talk down to people. They're not the same person they were. Or maybe it's a family member. Maybe like your sister, you're like, oh my gosh, this girl's a mess. I don't even want to, she's my sister. I'm not talking to her. And then when you get older, you're like, oh, okay, wait, my sister's kind of cool. She's awesome. She's got it together. So people will change, whether it's your friends, whether it's your family, especially whether it's you. So raise your hand if you yourself can say that you've changed in some way in the last 3 years. 3 years. Almost everybody. Okay, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Now, let me ask you a question on this one, and this is an honest one. Raise your hand if you've had or experienced change that wasn't good over your life. Okay, that's normal too. If you didn't raise your hand, you're either lying, or you haven't had it happen yet, and that's good for you. I'm glad you haven't had a bad change. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. I'm just saying. Now, here's mine. I'm gonna give you an example of one that's a physical change. You ready for this? So, when I was in high school and my first year in college, I was a swimmer. Don't be so shocked, okay? I used to be. Look at her face. She's like, oh, you were a swimmer. You're lying. No, and now she's covering her face. She feels bad. No, I legitimately swam in college. I had a freshman scholarship to college. My college was paid for. I was a swimmer. I was in shape, had a six-pack, everything. And now I have a dad bod. What are you laughing at that for? That's a real thing, a dad bod. I went from a six-pack to a keg. I just got the full thing now. That's a physical change. Anybody had a physical change? Justin, don't raise your hand. You're still skinny. I don't want to hear from you. So anybody else had a physical change? Maybe hairstyles? I know I shouldn't say hairstyles. You probably had hairstyles, So I'm just saying, sometimes it can be good. Sometimes, they say the camera adds 85 pounds, right? No. Why'd you laugh at that? You're supposed to be on my side with this. Yeah, of course, Christian. Then you go, oh, you can laugh at me later. Oh my gosh, you're supposed to be on my side. And now here's the real thing. People change. That's just inevitable. People change. We all believe this. Everybody can accept this. But here's the catch. Except when we don't. I'm gonna say that again. People change, and we all believe this. Everybody here understands, okay, people change, except when we don't. Sound a little confusing? It'll get less confusing as we go, I promise. Now, sometimes people can change bad qualities. Maybe they had some qualities that weren't good. They can change to good qualities. Other times they can change from good to bad. Or sometimes you look at somebody and go, you know what? This person's just this way. It's impossible. They're never gonna change. You ever have that where you look at somebody and go, there is no way that person's gonna change. This is just how they're gonna be the rest of their lives. You ever felt that way about somebody? Hand up. Now, keep that person in mind. Or keep someone in mind. Have you ever seen somebody like that actually change and you're like, whoa, I did not see that coming? You ever have that? Me too, especially in my job. You guys know I'm a corrections officer, right? So I deal with some of the worst people that you could ever see. I deal with some people that will never ever see the outside of a prison. Then I deal with other ones that just were in the wrong place, wrong time. They're not bad people. They just made a mistake. And those people, I go, okay, yeah, you can change. Some of the other ones, I'm like, man, do I think you can change? If you really want to, but I don't see it. And that's the key. You can't change, or somebody's not gonna change unless they want to do it themselves. You can look at somebody and say, you know what, you really should stop that bad habit, or I really should stop this, or I really need to do better at this. But if you don't put your mind to it, or if somebody else doesn't understand that and want to change, it's never gonna happen. And sometimes we're all human. So who do you think can help you the most if you wanna change? Someone can say it out loud. Oh, you're pointing, who? God, right? She's pointing, she's like, don't call on me. I'm pointing upstairs, you know what I mean? And you're right. Now, that's the thing, we're human. We all make mistakes. We're not perfect, thankfully, but God is. And if you wanna really change something, whether it's a habit you do, or change a relationship you're in, or help somebody else change, number one, they've gotta wanna do it themselves, and you've gotta do it with God's help. It's a lot of times way too difficult to try to change and stick to that change when you've already been, or someone's already been a certain way for a long time. Anybody agree with that? Can I get an amen? Amen. That was a good deep one. He's like, amen. I'm like, that's really good. Now, here's an example of ones where you think it could be impossible. Ready? Listen to some of these. Now, I didn't write this one. My coach is a jerk, has always been a jerk, and will always be a jerk. That's a bit rough. Now, I had coaches, never someone I'd say, my coach is just annoying, and he'll always be annoying. And sometimes that's the case. Here's another one. This is one I put in there. My mom is always going to nag me. Or you could say, you could feel like you'd say parent. I don't mean to, I was raised by my single mom, so my dad was around. So I say mom, but you could say your parents are always gonna nag you. Anybody ever feel like parents are always on your case about something? Cleaning, homework, something? Now, let me tell you, I'm not gonna burst your bubble. Let me tell you as an adult, I promise you, and as a parent now, they're doing it for your own good. Listen, no, she's not even 5 yet, she's gonna be 4, so I'm blessed right now. She'll be 4 next month, so she's still little. But I'm telling you, trust me, I was in your shoes. Your parents are trying to encourage you to change in a good way. Whether it's cleaning your room, they're trying to keep you being tidy so when you get older, you don't have a messy house and have cockroaches running out of your food, okay? Or maybe they see that you're in a relationship you shouldn't be in, a friendship, they're like, hey, maybe you shouldn't, be going to do that. They're not saying it to be mean, they're saying it to look out for you. They're trying to help you. Friends can be the same way. I had friends who were really good with that too. Now here's the toughest one. Maybe, let me ask you this though before I get into this. Do you have something that you wish you could change with yourself, but you don't think you can? This has been real honest with this one. So if you don't want to say it, you don't have to say it, but raise your hand and I won't ask you. I'm not going to pick on and point you out. Do you have something about yourself that you would like to change, but you don't think you can? I can say I've had that before. And that's totally normal. And here's the thing, a lot of the times when we want to change something, it's a good thing. We don't go, oh man, you know what, I'm a really nice person. I really want to be a mean person. I want to be a school bully. I'm being nice last year. I want to be a bully. I want to take the kids' lunch money, and I want the spicy chicken sandwich. No, if you're thinking that that's a good change, you and I can talk when we're done, and maybe Dusty can intervene, and we'll pray for you and have you come to the altar and bless you, child, and all that stuff. But most of the times when you want to change something, it's a good thing. And let me just tell you this. If you honestly want to change something about yourself, let me be the first to tell you, if no one's told you this, you can. Every single person in here has what's called potential. And every single one of you has the potential to change. Don't let the world, don't let society, the news, people at your school, family sometimes, don't let somebody tell you that you're stuck where you are and you can't change, because that is a lie. I promise you, if you want to change something, you can do it. And you talk to any adults in here, and we're living proof. It's not easy. It's not always easy. But if you want to make a change, you can do it. It just takes some steps. And we're going to go over some of those steps today, okay? Now, think about this one. I tried this, all right? Ready? I really did. I tried to look up on Amazon. I Googled Amazoned it. I tried to find a magic 8-ball that would work for me. I'm like, if I get this magic 8-ball, I've seen it in movies, you shake it, and it will tell you how your day's gonna go. And I'm like, maybe this will really work. Well, I did some research on it. Turns out it doesn't work. And they overcharged for it, so I was gonna pay it, but it was like $14.99 with free shipping. I'm like, well, if it really works, let me check it. So I read the reviews and people were like, no, this thing was bad luck, it didn't work. It told me I was gonna be successful, and I got into a car accident that day. I'm like, well, maybe your car was gonna blow up and the accident stopped it from blowing up. I was trying to logically explain it, but I was like, no, so I tried looking it up for you guys, trying to see if we could buy magic 8-balls, shake them and make them work, but sorry, it doesn't really work. I was trying to. And so what I'm saying with that is that sometimes we can feel powerless when it comes to certain things. Whether it's things about us, things around us, in our lives, there's just times where we can just feel powerless to do things, and you just kind of want to say, you know what? Here's a phrase that everyone says, it is what it is. You ever said that before? Or heard somebody say that? It is what it is. It's a phrase that gets used a lot, but I'll tell you what, I don't like it. I don't like that phrase. And I'm gonna tell you why too. And I'm not trying to pour on bad news, okay? I'm not trying to make this like a Debbie Downer. I'm not being a Daniel Downer. I had to change it, I'm not Debbie. I couldn't say Debbie, that doesn't fit right. But when it says, it is what it is, that's one thing that people use. Here's the second one. That's just who I am. You know what? I'm the school bully. I like to be mean to people, and that's just who I am. That is an excuse to be mean. That is an excuse to be a not nice person. If I see someone being mean, I go and say, man, you really shouldn't do that. I go, it's just who I am. Then at that point, I'm gonna say, no, you're just rude. That's not who you are. You're choosing to be that way. You're not born to be rude. You're not born a bad person. God doesn't do that. God doesn't make mistakes. So if you're like, the circumstances I'm in or where I am, it is what it is. I can't change it. This is what I was born into and I can't get out of it, or this is how I act. I can't get past it. That's not true. That's Satan talking in your head trying to tell you that you're no good, that you're not good enough to do it. And I'll tell you it's a lie again. It doesn't always work that way, that the devil tries to get you when you're feeling vulnerable. When you feel like there's a time where you're like, I just kind of wanted to just give up on this. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to be different. I'm just going to not try anymore. And that's the devil's voice in your head. That's not God. God only wants what's best for you. God's the one who's waiting there to lean on. He's got all the ultimate power, not us. So if we want to change and you rely on him, you're relying on the strongest being in the universe. Remember that? Remember over the few weeks we showed all the galaxies he made and all that different stuff? If he can do all of that, don't you think he could help us change? Right? Next slide. I want you to read this Bible verse. So remember we talked about Zacchaeus, right? For the last few weeks, been talking about Zacchaeus, and you all should be very familiar with Zacchaeus. But if you're not, if you're new tonight, we'll kind of do a quick wrap up. Zacchaeus is a tax collector, okay? Jesus is already a huge, well-known figure at the time, okay? And during this time, he goes and talks. Huge crowds come to see him to the point where you can't even get through to see him. You're lucky if you're in the back and you can hear what he says. There's no microphones back then, but he probably did do something cool with his voice to make it extend. I don't know. I can't do that. I don't have the voice for that. So at this time, he's hugely well known. He's looked at. Everyone wants to see him. And Zacchaeus is probably the one that nobody wants to see. He's a tax collector, which means he steals from people. He keeps money to himself. Not a good guy. He's not. And so I want you to look at this next slide for me. So it says, but Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, look, Lord, here and now I give half of my possessions to the poor. I want you to stop right there. Think about this. Half of your possessions. I want you to think about everything you have, stuff that you have in your house. Video games, computers, tablets, iPods, whatever you've got, think about it. Now, what if someone came to you and said, you know what? You got to give half of that away. And you're not going to get money for it. You're giving half of it away to go donate it. Be honest here. Raise your hand if that would be difficult to do. I'll put my hand up. Give half of my stuff away. I'm a huge book nerd, okay? I've got 600 some odd books. If you came to me and said, hey, Christian, guess what? You got to get half your books. I'm going, oh, what? Step back. Half my books? I've got a huge first edition collection. What are you talking about, Willis? No. That's a very difficult thing to do. So when you look at Zacchaeus, the fact that he literally, we go back to the verse for me? Because I want to finish that verse. Put it back up there. Where is it? There it is. All right. So it's on the side. I was using the side to read it. And it says, and if I cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount. So half his possessions he's giving away. That's one part. If I cheated anybody, I will pay back 4 times the amount. Now, you guys remember I told you he was a tax collector. His job was to cheat. That's what he did. Oh, Sydney, let's just say you owe $15 this month, but you know what? I need 30 because I hurt my back coming to you, and I got to get it worked out, so $30. He pockets the 15. So he's going to give back 4 times that amount. That's 15 times 4 to that one person. So what he's in essence doing, he's going from being a wealthy, now he was a bad guy, but he's being a wealthy bad guy to now being pretty much poor in terms of possessions and items. So, and here's why he did that. All right, Jesus knew him. He saw him. We talked about his name, called him out by name, drew attention to him. He knew him. And here's the important part. Next slide. Jesus saw who Zacchaeus could be. That's the key word, is could. Jesus saw who Zacchaeus could be. Because you guys, we all know who he was. He was a bad guy. Nobody liked him. Nobody. This was not somebody who had a lot of friends. Jesus saw past that. He saw his potential. And everybody in this room has potential. Sometimes it's just hard to see your own potential because it's almost like looking inward. You get better at that as you get older. But when you're younger, you ever had someone tell you, oh man, like you're really good at soccer. Oh my gosh, you're really good at talking to people. Or oh my gosh, you're really good, fill in the blank. Anybody ever been told that by somebody? Raise your hand. Higher. So if you've ever been told, someone goes, hey, you're really good at blank. Okay, most of you. If it hasn't happened, I guarantee you it will, especially as you get older and you get to high school and college. That's how people find their jobs too. They're like, oh, you're really good at this. That's other people seeing your potential. And the person who sees everybody's potential is God. Has anybody never been told that before? Let me just, raise your hand if you've never been told that you have potential. Raise your hand. I'm not trying to single you out. I'm just going to tell you that all right, if you've never been told that, let me be the one to say to you, Every single person in this room has potential. Potential to change, potential to be a better person. However you want to look at it, whatever you're dealing with. I don't know what everyone's personal struggles are tonight. There's no way for me to know that. But whatever you have, I want you to know you are loved and you have extreme potential. Everybody in this room. Whether it's to change, whether it's to better your relationship, be a better son, daughter, be a better student, whatever you want to fill in the blank with, it is up to you. You have the way to do that. And here's how we tie it into the personal side of it. All right, now before I go into this part, let me look at this real quick. Imagine people's mindsets. We talked about how Zacchaeus was looked at. Could you imagine, I want you to think about your school bully, right? Can you think of somebody in your school that's mean? Like raise your hand if you think of somebody in your school that's not nice, someone that's rude. Okay, so a lot of people have their hands up. Here's what I want you to think of. Jesus going to Zacchaeus and saying, hey, I'm gonna go to your house today. Let's do this. You know, it'd be like Jesus going to your school, going to that mean person or that bully and saying, hey, listen, I wanna mentor you, I wanna help you. I'm gonna hang out, I'm gonna have lunch with you today. I'd be like, what did you just say? You're going with him? Like, you better be stepping. No, I will pay for your lunch, Jesus, to come eat with me. You're gonna go hang out with him or with her? Are you kidding me? Because as people, sometimes all we see is the outside. All we see is what someone's done. All we see is the choices they've made, mistakes they've made. It makes it hard to look past that. Jesus, on the other hand, think of it like a painter or a sculptor. You guys ever seen sculptures before? All sculptures start off as a giant block. You ever seen those before they're made? Let me explain. So literally, it's a huge block, probably stands about my height, sometimes bigger. They weigh tons. They weigh thousands of pounds. And one sculptor comes in with this idea and will make, I should have done a picture for this, we'll make a huge, beautiful sculpture out of it. But if you see it from start to finish, you're like, there's no way, what are you gonna make out of that? A block? It's gonna become a block. Because that's what it looks like. And they'll make these crazy designs out of it. That's what Jesus sees. He looks at you, looks at us, goes, okay, I see you. Here's your potential. Let me shape you into who I know you can be. That's what Jesus can do. And here's why it works. Next slide. And it's personal because Jesus knows your potential. Whether you know it or someone else knows it or not, Jesus knows your potential. Let that kind of sink in for a minute. So you've got the God of the universe who created everything, cares and knows your potential and wants you to reach it. It's not his plan for us to fail. It's not his plan for you to not be successful. That's what he wants for each and every one of us. He wants you to reach and achieve your potential. It's just on us whether or not we accept that. Whether or not we, because as much as he sees our potential, there's work that we have to do too. We can't just say, oh, here's my potential. Let me just stand still and zap me. And then all of a sudden, it's not like it's some kind of superhero change where it's Clark Kent rips his shirt open and there's Superman. It's not as dramatic as that. It'd be nice if it was. That'd be kind of cool. Like, hey, let me go in this phone booth. When I come out, I'm going to be really nice to you. Hang on. And then go in the phone booth and you come out and be like, hey, everybody. Like that doesn't work that way. It'd be interesting if it did, but it takes a little bit of work on our part. But with God's help and with your friends' help, family members, all that who love you and care about you, you can achieve your potential. Next verse. This is one of my favorite verses in this whole story. It says, Jesus said to him, salvation has come to this house because this man too is a son of Abraham. Leave this on here for a minute. I want you to stop and look at this. Calling him a son of Abraham is saying he's now one of God's people because Abraham was one of the Jewish fathers, one of the heads of the Jewish back then. So saying that is saying, hey, you're now one of my people. So now people are going, oh, you calling this Roman guy, this guy who's like taking from me all the time, one of your own? So people at this point are flabbergasted. You know what that word is? I like that word, flabbergasted. They're more like this, ready? They're just looking at, because they're confused. Because we as human beings, when we see someone that's not a good person, it's hard to peel away those layers and see past that and look at somebody who's really not a good person. It's hard to go, yeah, you got potential. Be like, why are you saying that? Because it's hard for me to see it. It's tough sometimes, but Jesus is able to peel that away and get in and see. So what I want you to know is that if Zacchaeus has potential, this thief, this robber, this bad guy who steals from everybody, if Jesus goes to him and says, hey, listen, I see your potential, I can help you change, and this guy gives away half of his possessions and repays everybody, how much more do you think he can do for you? I guarantee you nobody in here is anywhere near Zacchaeus' level. I hope they're not. But from knowing most of you, I know that's not the case. So I want you to put in your mind, if you're ever like, you know what, it's too tough. I don't know if God can really do that. Have you seen some of the stuff I've done? I haven't, but God has. But look at what's God dealt with before. Look at all the stuff all the people he's helped. For instance, I'm going to give you a story that's not in my notes because it just popped in my head. Are you guys familiar with the crucifixion when Jesus dies on the cross? Okay, so he's in agony, right? Worst agony you can go through. He's on the cross. He's got two criminals on each side, one criminal on each side of him. One of the people looks over to him and goes, well, come on, if you're God's son, just get yourself off the cross and take us down while you're at it. Starts making fun of him and saying, if you're really this all-powerful being, then why are you going through this? He doesn't get it. The other guy on Jesus' other side says, no, he goes, stop. He goes, why do you, that's not what he's doing. That's not what he's about. And so he gets the other guy to stop, and Jesus looks at him and he goes, look, he goes, I'm sorry. He's like, when you go see your Father, just think of me. And he tells him, you will be with me in paradise today. So that guy was on a cross. Whatever he had done, the criminal, so Jesus was innocent, but the two people with him were not. Whatever that guy had done, even in the end, before he dies, he tells Jesus, just think of me, mention me to your Father when you go where you're going. That's all I'm asking. And he tells him, you will be with me in paradise today. If he can say that to someone who was bad enough to be hung on a cross, how much more do you think he can do for you? A lot. Next slide. And here's one thing about this. This change he does for Zacchaeus is radical. Do you guys know what that word is, radical? That means crazy. That means unheard of. It's new, unusual. So this radical change that he does to Zacchaeus, he can do with you too. It's just whether or not you want to do it. And when I say radical change, I mean if there's something, you all raised your hands and said there was something that you want to change about yourself, or there has been something you want to change. If you really want to and you think, man, that's too crazy, or that's just too much, it's not. Not for God. For us, it may be. There are times where I'm like, you know what, that is too much. I don't think I can do that. That's way too tough. I don't think I can change that. Anybody ever had that where you're like, it's just too much, I don't want to worry about it, let me just move on to something different? Yeah, and that's not a bad thing to say. My hand's up with that too. That's not a bad thing. It's just life. That's being human. That's why we have God to rely on with all these things. Next, I want you to read this verse for me. I love this verse. This is one of my favorite verses. It says, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come, the old has gone, the new is here. So what that means is you turn to God and you ask him to step into your life and to make a change, to make it new, all the other stuff's forgotten. Anything you've done, you ask God to forgive you. You say, man, I really need your help with this, or I really want to change this. He'll help you, and he doesn't bring it up. You ever feel that holds grudges against you? Like, think of Zacchaeus. I guarantee you, after Jesus goes to his house and says, salvation's come to your house today, those people weren't just magically, oh, Zacchaeus, what's up, dude? Are you kidding me? When Jesus left, they probably were even more mad at Zacchaeus than they were before. Because at that point, now he got Jesus' attention. That's how we are as people. We tend to get a little bit jealous. Anybody here ever been jealous of somebody? It's natural, it's human emotion. So when Zacchaeus does that, they're like, he's not gonna change. You came here for one day, Jesus, to talk with him. You really think he's gonna change? It wasn't until Zacchaeus followed through and did what he was gonna do. Gave away half his possessions and repaid everybody who he cheated. And once he did that, people go, oh, actions speak very loud. It's one thing to say, you know what, I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna beat this, like, let's be real. If you're struggling with something, whether it's an addiction or a habit, when you go, you know, I'm not gonna do this anymore. It's easy to say it. It's a lot harder to follow through on it and make it day by day, make a change. But that's what God's there for. Because nothing is too big for God. It may seem too big for us, but it's not for him. I want you guys to hear that. There is nothing that's too big for God. I don't care what you've done in your past. Like that verse says, the old is gone. I don't care what you've done before tonight. I don't care. Neither does God. If you're willing to give it up and give it to him and say, you know what, now, tonight, I'm not gonna do that anymore. Or now, tonight, I'm gonna work on that relationship I've got. Or going forward, I'm not gonna be this type of person. I'm gonna be like this. If you say it, and be careful when you pray that. If you pray that, God's gonna come calling on you. God's gonna come, okay, let's put the feet to the pavement. Let's see if you'll follow through on it. So those of you that had those things in the back of your head, where you're thinking about something you want to change, raise your hand if you really want to change it. All right, now I want you to read this next slide. Go ahead and put this next slide up. I want you to read this out loud. Go ahead and read it together. 1, 2, 3. Believe that we can change. Don't just think it. Trust it. If you want to change, you can. It's on you. It's up to you. And all it takes, like we said, is prayer. Don't give up. Don't just let it be done. And here's the trick. Maybe you are in a place where you're really good. Maybe you're in a place where, like, you know what? I already battled my demons. I already beat all the stuff I had. I'm doing really good. Maybe you're struggling with somebody else. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's a friend, somebody you know. And you're like, you know what? Christian, there's no way. They can't change. Here's what you gotta do about that. Next slide. Believe that others can change. Don't be stuck in that mindset, because if you changed, you gotta believe that others can change too. Sometimes we just have to help them to see the potential in themselves. If someone's done that for you, the least you can do is do that for somebody else. I wouldn't be here tonight if someone didn't do that for me. All right, let me give you an example. I'm gonna give you a little story about my own self too, real quick as we go. So, for myself, I used to be a toll booth worker. You guys know the toll booths, right? Collecting money at toll booths. All I did, your car would pull up, I'd take your $2 or a $5 or $20, whatever, and give you change back. Easiest job I ever had. Required no thinking hardly at all on my part. Very simple job. And the problem with those kind of jobs is it's very easy to get stuck in those ruts where you're like, you know what, this is just, I'll do this is okay. And while I was doing it, I was writing stories. I had somebody go, you really should publish some of these stories. And so I finally did. So I became a writer. Then I left there, I worked here for a while, and now I'm a corrections officer with Lee County going on 5 years in January. So if you look at something and go, you know what, this is all I'm gonna accomplish, or this is the only place I can go to, don't believe that. If there's something you wanna do, go for it. If there's something you wanna change about yourself or see somebody else change for, do it, mention it to them. Mention it to yourself, make a note, get a journal and say, this is what I'm gonna work towards, and read that every day. And then kind of do a journal and say how you've changed every day or how you're working towards it. Journaling can be a huge thing. I had a bunch of journals as a kid from the time I was 12 and on the way up. Right? Now here's what I want you to think of though real quick. In your head, don't say it out loud, especially if they're in this room, don't do that. Next slide. I want you to think of somebody, imagine somebody in your head who you can think of that could change for the better. Don't say it out loud. Just, I want you to think in your head and raise your hand when you have that person in your head. Raise your hand. It could be yourself, it could be somebody else, but raise your hand if you can think of somebody that can change for the better. So here's what I want you to do then. Over these next few weeks, put them on your prayer list. If you don't have a prayer list, start one. Start praying for them. If it's yourself, start praying for yourself and start moving on the steps to go towards that. Start trying to make a change. If it's somebody else, put them at the top of your prayer list. You'd be surprised how often God can answer things like that. It might just shock you. And so here's what I really want to get into, the thick of it. You guys like small groups, right? Let me tell you how important small groups can be for you. That is your chance, because let me be honest with you. I struggled as a kid talking to my mom about things. I don't know if it was because I was a boy and she was my mom. I don't know what it was, but I really struggled with bringing things to her that I dealt with. I had a lot of anger issues as a kid. I actually went to anger management therapy from the time I was 15 till 17, so 2 years. I went to anger management because I had such bad anger issues. I would punch holes in walls. I just had a lot of anger towards my dad, towards stuff that had gone on when I was younger. And because I didn't feel like I could talk to my mom, I started going to a small group. And that area became somewhere I could go to. I could talk to my friends, talk to my small group leader, and not about bad things, but just about things that I didn't think my mom would understand, or maybe about things I just didn't feel comfortable talking with her about. And because of small groups, they were the ones who said, you know what, we think you might be struggling. One of my friends goes, you might have an anger problem. I'm like, and what do? I don't have an anger problem. And I kind of get like that tone. He's like, relax, dude, don't punch me in the face, but I definitely think you have an anger problem now. And I did, I really did, but it took somebody else in a small group to tell me that so I could address that and then change. And guess what? Do I struggle with anger now? Nowhere near in the same way I did. I learned how to deal with it. I learned how to cope. I learned healthy ways to deal with my anger. So if I can go from being a 17-year-old angry little kid listening to metal music, punching holes in my wall, slamming the door, punching in the, bad. I've got scars on knuckles from that's how angry of a person I was. If I can go to that, to being how I am now, where it takes a lot to get me angry now. A lot. I've just learned to cope with it. So if God can change me, he can definitely change you. I'm gonna invite the worship band to come up. And here's what I want you to think of, guys, when this song is going on. Think of that person, whether it's you or somebody else who came in your head when I said imagine somebody who could change. Pray for that person during this song. Take this song and have it be a time for you to be able to go to God and say, you know what, I really want to make a difference tonight. I want to stop being where I'm at. I want to change. Or if it's somebody who you know, pray for them. Even let them know. Say, hey, listen, I know you're better than this. I know you can beat this or you can do that. Just think of that. If you want to, you can pray in your seat. You don't have to stand. If you want to pray at your seat, you can. If you want to pray up here at the cross, by all means. If you want to pray with a leader here, please do that. But use this time of worship tonight and take it seriously, and use your small group time. That's the time for you. That's your chance to really dive in with each other and live life together, okay? All right, let's stand for worship. All right, I like good song choice on that, Kyle. Just saying. Give it up for these guys up here. They do such a good job every week. Love playing with these guys. So next, guys, we're gonna go to small groups. So if you guys will go with your small group leaders. I don't know. I don't think we can spread out right now because we got those classes going on, right? We still meet in here, I think. So kind of choose different corners. Dusty, I'll let you choose first. What side you want to go with the boys? So if you guys will go with the groups, middle schoolers, I think are back there with Dusty. High schoolers, Jason's not here this week, so he'll be with me. What grade do you, I forget. High school girls, whoop, whoop. Oh no, that's a tough age. Just kidding. High school girls go over here, middle school girls too. So if you guys will go to your small groups now and discuss all the questions that have been sent out, that's the time we're at now.